Hello friends, this video on Ray Optics part 25 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till part 24 before going ahead with part 25. Have covered total internal reflection. It is time that we study about refraction at spherical surfaces. Because now I have already introduced what is refraction of light, right? So now we will study refraction. How does refraction of light takes place at spherical surfaces? How does refraction of light take place by lenses? I mean with lens also, when you use lens, that time also refraction of light takes place. So now we will study about spherical surfaces and then lenses separately. So when we talk about refraction at a spherical surface, so what do you think we are going to study here? Till now, we study about refraction at a plane surface. So, what was that plane surface? What is the surface we are talking about? It is nothing but the boundary or the interface between the two medium. So, here if you look at this is one medium. This is one medium. This is the second medium. So, the boundary between the two medium is a plane surface. So, this is how refraction took place. The incident ray came. When it moved from a rarer medium to denser medium, it bent towards the normal. So that is how refraction took place. Now we are talking about a spherical surface. That means instead of this plane surface, it would be a spherical surface. We already studied about spherical mirror, so you have some idea about that. So when I talk about a spherical surface, I am talking about a surface like this. Maybe this will be medium 1 and this will be medium 2. So now we are talking about how would the refraction takes place in these cases. So what do you think? Will the laws of refraction change for a spherical surface? No, it will not, because if you consider a very big sphere and if you consider a small part of this big spherical surface, what is the small part? This small part is nothing but a plane surface, right? So that means a spherical surface is nothing but it consists of small plane surfaces, and that is why the laws of refraction which were true for a plane surface will also hold true for a spherical surface. So a very small portion of a spherical surface is a plane surface. Therefore, laws of refraction which we have studied so far will held true in case of a spherical surface as well. So let us look at the refraction at a spherical surface. How does the refraction takes place in case of a spherical surface, and how is an image formation happening in this case? Like how we studied about spherical mirrors. Similarly, we will talk about spherical surface which divides two different medium of different refractive indices. So let us suppose this is a spherical surface. This is one medium with refractive index N1. This is the second medium with refractive index N2. Let us suppose this is the object O. A ray of light from the object is incident on the spherical mirror. After refraction, what is the normal to the mirror? Normal to the surface of the mirror is this. Since it is moving from a rarer medium to a denser medium, this ray bends towards the normal. So it bends towards the normal, and this is the angle of refraction. So this is where it meets the principal axis, and that's why an image is formed. Right? Okay. So the image I is formed here, and we say that the radius of curvature of the spherical surfaces are, this is the center of curvature for the spherical surface. So this is the object distance U, and this is the image distance V. So with these things now we will start. So this is my incident ray and this is my refracted ray. So with these assumptions or with these information in mind, let us now start to find out a relationship between the image distance, object distance, as well as the radius of curvature with the refractive indices of the two medium. So first of all, we will have some assumptions while we go ahead. So what do we assume? We assume that the aperture of the spherical surface is very small. That means the spherical surface aperture is very small, means this distance is negligible, right? So the angles which it makes will be very small. So in that case, let us suppose first, let me name all the points. Let me call this point as M. Let me call this point as P. So we can say that tan of angle MOP, that is this angle. So tan of this angle would be nothing but this divided by this. So here when we say that the aperture is very small, that means this distance is very negligible. So if we can say that PC is nothing but P, this point. Okay, so we are not naming this point as something else. We are assuming this point to be P because we have assumed that the aperture is very small. So we can say that tan of angle MOP is equal to MP divided by OP. MP divided by OP. Similarly, we can say tan of angle MCP, that is this angle, will be equal to MP divided by CP. And similarly, tan of angle MIP, that is this angle, will be equal to MP divided by IP. Now for small angle approximations, for small angles, we can say that tan theta can be written as theta, right? So in this case, angle I can be written as angle MOP plus angle MCP. If you look at the triangle MOC, consider the triangle MOC. If you consider this triangle, angle I is an exterior angle. So this exterior angle should be equal to the sum of the opposite interior angles. Therefore, angle I is equal to angle MOP plus angle MCP. Now, what is angle MOP? Angle MOP is nothing but tan angle MOP, because just now I mentioned that for small angles tan theta is theta. So tan angle MOP is angle MOP, which is equal to MP divided by OP plus angle MCP. Angle MCP is equal to MP divided by CP, right? So this is my first equation. Also, we can say that now we have to include the angle of refraction, that is this angle R. So we can say now if you focus on this triangle MCI, in triangle MCI, we can say that angle MCP is equal to angle R plus angle MIP. So this is considering this triangle MCI. Right, here also the same thing. This is, if you consider this particular triangle, this angle MCP is the exterior angle and which is equal to the sum of the opposite interior angles, right? So this again we can write as angle R is equal to angle MCP minus angle MIP. So what is angle MCP? Angle MCP is nothing but MP by CP minus angle MIP is nothing but MP by IP. So we now name this equation as equation 2. Now from Snell's law, we know that sin I by sin R is equal to N21, that is N2 by N1. Right? Now again, using the small angle approximation, we can say that I by R, angle I by angle R is equal to N2 by N1. So we can say that N1I is equal to N2R. So therefore, from equation 1 and equation 2, what do we get? From equation 1, we know the value of I. Similarly, from equation 2, we know the value of R. So we'll put those values of I and R. So N1 into MP by OP plus MP by CP is equal to N2 into MP by CP minus MP by IP. So this is what we get. Now we will consider the sign convention. So considering the sign convention, what do we see? What is OP? OP is nothing but the distance of the object from the pole. So therefore we can say OP is U, and considering sign convention it would be minus U because it is opposite in direction to the direction of incident ray. Now what is IP? IP is nothing but the image distance, right? And the image is located on the right hand side, so this would be positive. Okay, now what is CP? CP is nothing but distance of center of curvature from pole, which is nothing but the radius of curvature. So CP is nothing but the radius of curvature, and this is also positive. So let us put these values in the above equation. So what do we get? We get N1 into MP by minus U plus MP by plus R is equal to N2 into MP divided by R minus MP divided by V. Now MP will get cancelled from both the sides, so we get minus N1 by U plus N1 by R is equal to N2 by R minus N2 by V. Right? So this can be written as N2 by V minus N1 by U is equal to N2 minus N1 by R. So this is the expression which relates image distance, object distance and radius of curvature with the refractive indices of the two medium in case of refraction through a spherical surface. This is also a very important expression which we have obtained because it helps us to find out where an image will be obtained if we know the distance of the object from the spherical surface. When the spherical surface acts as a boundary between two different media with different refractive indices. So please understand this derivation and also remember the expression which we have obtained, so that in case of problems you do not need to derive the entire thing. You can just put the expression and you can solve the problems. Right? Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.